Before we start, I want you to think about something very simple, not something complicated, not something philosophical. Just something you did recently. You walked into your kitchen, picked up a bottle, and poured oil into a pan. That's it. Nothing unusual, nothing worth remembering. But here's the strange part. You don't remember when that became normal. You don't remember choosing it. You don't remember questioning it. It just exists in your life. And that's exactly what makes it interesting. Because the most powerful changes in our lives are not the ones we notice. They are the ones that quietly become routine. What if I told you that the oil sitting in your kitchen right now is not just an ingredient, but the result of a massive shift in how humans cook, eat, and live? A shift that didn't happen overnight, didn't ask for your attention, and yet completely changed something as basic as food. And the most surprising part? You were part of this change without ever realizing it. So in this video, we're not just going to talk about cooking oil. We are going to uncover a story about how something ordinary became powerful, how convenience slowly replaced tradition, and how entire systems can reshape daily life without being seen. But before we dive in, if you enjoy content that makes you look at everyday things differently, that makes you pause, question, and think a little deeper, make sure you like this video, share it with someone who never questions what's in their kitchen, and subscribe to HistoFy. Because here, we don't just tell stories, we reveal the ones hiding in plain sight. Now, let's begin. There's a moment that repeats in your life almost every day. You walk into your kitchen, maybe it's morning, maybe it's late evening. You're not thinking too much. Your mind is somewhere else. Work, messages, plans, stress, anything but this moment. Your hand moves almost automatically. You reach for a bottle, you don't look at it. You don't question it. You don't even register the action. You pour. The oil spreads across the pan, smooth, silent, controlled. And just like that, it disappears into your food. That moment feels insignificant, but what if it isn't? What if something so ordinary is actually one of the biggest changes that quietly reshaped your life? Because the truth is, this wasn't always normal. If you could step back into a kitchen from your grandparents' time, the first thing you would notice is not what's there. It's how it feels. There's a different kind of presence, a different kind of time. Cooking wasn't rushed. It wasn't something squeezed between tasks. It was something that took space in the day, in the home, in the senses. You would hear grinding, slow, repetitive, almost rhythmic. You would smell something strong, raw, unmistakable. You would see ingredients in their original form, unprocessed, unchanged, recognizable. Oil wasn't a product, it was a process. In some homes, mustard seeds were crushed with pressure that took effort and patience. The smell wasn't mild, it was sharp, almost overwhelming. It filled the entire space, announcing itself. In others, coconuts were broken open, scraped, pressed until thick oil slowly emerged. Not perfectly clear, not uniform, but real. And in many places, nothing was wasted. Oils were reused carefully. Fats were stored. Everything had a cycle. There was a connection, not just to food, but to how food came into existence. The change didn't arrive like a storm. It didn't interrupt life. It blended into it. Cities started growing, life became faster, time became something you could lose, and slowly, the things that required effort began to feel heavier. Not wrong, just inconvenient. And that's how the shift began. Not by forcing people to change, but by making the old way harder to keep. Because when something easier appears, you don't resist it, you adapt to it. At some point, something subtle happened. Oil stopped being something you made and started becoming something you bought. The process moved away from homes into places you never saw. Factories replaced hands. Machines replaced time. Extraction became faster, larger, more efficient. But the real shift wasn't in production. It was in perception. The oil coming out of these systems looked different. It was clearer, lighter, more controlled. It didn't carry strong smells. It didn't vary from batch to batch. It felt reliable, predictable. And predictability does something powerful to the human mind. It creates trust, even without understanding. This wasn't a takeover. It didn't replace everything overnight. It entered slowly like an option. A bottle on a shelf, clean, sealed, consistent. Words started appearing that sounded reassuring. Refined, pure, light, healthy. These weren't just descriptions, they were signals that this was better than what came before. And over time, people didn't just try it, they accepted it. Not through a single decision, but through repetition, through exposure, through familiarity. This is the part that feels uncomfortable because it doesn't feel like something was taken from you, it feels like something you chose. But did you? Think about it. Was there ever a moment where you sat down and compared deeply consciously what was used before and what you use now? Or did it just become normal? Because that's how the human mind works. The more you see something, the less you question it. The more you repeat something, the more it becomes you. And at some point, you stop choosing, you start following patterns. Behind that one bottle is something much bigger. Fields growing crops not for local use but for scale. Systems designed to produce more, faster, cheaper. Processes built to make products last longer, travel further, look better. It's not hidden, but it's not visible either. Because you only see the final step. The shelf, the bottle, the pour. And when you only see the end, you never question the journey. What makes the shift powerful is not just what changed, it's how it changed. There was no moment where everything felt different, no clear before and after. Just a slow transition moving across time. One generation adjusted, the next accepted, and the next never knew anything else. And that's when change becomes permanent, when it stops feeling like change at all. Now go back to your kitchen. Look at that bottle again. The one you reach for without thinking, the one that feels completely normal. It wasn't always there. It replaced something. Something slower, something more connected, something that required awareness. And somehow, that entire transition happened without becoming a moment. Because this pattern feels familiar, not just in food, but in everything. The things you use every day, the habits you follow, the choices you believe are yours, how many of them did you truly choose? And how many simply appeared over time? Because the most powerful systems don't force behavior, they shape it quietly, gradually, until it feels like it was always yours. So the next time you step into your kitchen and your hand moves the way it always does, almost automatically, toward that same bottle, pause. Just for a second, notice it. the shape, the label, the habit. Not to question everything, not to change anything instantly, but to become aware of something that was always there but never really seen. Because sometimes the biggest shifts in our lives aren't the loud ones. They're the quiet ones that slip into our routines and become part of us before we even realize it. Or maybe this was one of them. If this made you think even for a moment, if it made you look at something ordinary in a completely different way, then don't let this thought stop here. Share this video with someone who walks into their kitchen every day just like you without ever noticing the shift. Because sometimes awareness spreads the same way habits do, quietly. And if you're curious about the hidden patterns behind everyday life, the things we use, trust, and never question, subscribe to HistoFy because this channel isn't about telling you what to think, it's about showing you what's been shaping your thinking all along. Like the video if this made you pause, share it if this made you reflect, and subscribe if you want to keep seeing what's hidden in plain sight. And before you go, just ask yourself one thing. The next time you pour that oil, will you still do it the same way or will you finally notice it? I'll see you in the next one.